Welcome back. Right? It's been forever, but today we got a different project for you to watch. Today we're going to be installing a express water or an express water filtration system. It's got 3 filters up to 50,000 gallons, so it's a whole house water filter that would last approximately 6 months or more. We have a 2.5 bath home. So we're expecting 6 months out of this at least. This is our kind of like our utility area. It's below our stairs, so it's got a low ceiling. So I'm sitting on my knees. But this is where we've tucked away our 50-gallon water heater. And what we'll be doing is disconnecting this. I'm going to actually move, I think, my water heater to this wall. I don't know if you can pick up the orange pipes in the video, but we've actually got a when we poured the concrete, when we poured the floor, we poured it for a heated floor. So someday I might do a video on that, but that's not today. But I think we're going to try to reposition our water heater to this corner, and then maybe hang our filtration system on this wall right here. So let's get started. And at first we're going to make a big mess, and then we'll start trying to fix it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is shut off our main water line. Actually, I guess that's the second water supply. That's our second thing. The first thing is shutting the water off at the meter. Our second step is to shut off our main supply valve right here. This is probably something not everyone has, but this is a pressure gauge. This is just something I put in just to make sure that I'm getting proper pressure to my system and not overpressured or underpressured. Oh, and something else you want to do, we'll go ahead and kill power to our water heater, right? So go ahead and flip that breaker off to your water heater, just to be safe. Okay, I'm gonna clean up a mess. This is why it's really important to have your power off, because that's your water heater breaker is a double 30 probably, and you definitely don't want to get hit with that. So power to water heater is off. Water is drained. I know there's no expansion tank. So there's that. Now, what we're wanting to do, my plan, is this is an 1.25 inch PVC line. So we're running 850 feet to our water meter. It's actually just over that. So we ran a large water line, 1.25 inch, to get supplied water here. Now the way we had, I think, 90 PSI down there at our meter, and the way the pressure will work is as that water is constricted to a smaller pipe, pressure is built. So we go from 1.25 inch to a 3/4 line. It actually helps our pressure. Now we had great pressure at the meter. We went down a hill, back up a hill, but we kept our pressure, so everything works well for us that way. But a lot of times this isn't just 1.25 inch. This is usually a 3/4 line or a 1 inch line. In our case, it's 1.25 inch just because of the volume and the distance. Okay guys, so it's kind of a tight squeeze in here. So what I've got now, I put a 1x on the wall, and the reason for doing that is to, one, space the filtration system off the drywall. But more importantly than that, we'll mount our filtration system here and here. but it allows me to attach a support to our PEX line. So we're going to use PEX A, which I'll explain in a minute what that is. I did put one down at the bottom of the filtration system. I don't think the camera's picking that up, but there's the same one down below, right at the bottom rail of the filtration system, which I'll show you on a video in a little bit. So we'll mount here, hang it, and then we're spaced off the wall with the same board below. Screws I use the GRK cabinet screws. These things are amazing. I always buy 2.5 inch when we're hanging cabinets. But they have a big flat head on them, so there's no chance that they would pull out. So that's mounted. That's mounted. I'm gonna mock up our filtration system, and with some screws, we'll hang it, and then I'll mock up our water lines and start putting the water lines together. So what we're going to be using today is PEX A. So there would be a couple different options here. You could use a PVC adapter. You can use, if you're using PEX pipe, so this is PEX. There's PEX A and there's PEX B. So be aware of that if you're a homeowner trying to do this yourself. But we have PEX A in our house. You could use PVC or also iron pipe or copper. So these have, there's two different, you see like a female thread, and you go to the store and you buy a male threaded adapter. There's actually two different styles of thread. This is NPT, so it's a tapered thread. So what we have is a PEX A. That's what we're using, is PEX A, 1 inch NPT, male NPT. So the instructions say that you are to put approximately 20 wraps on the male thread. Okay, so this will thread in right here. So we'll just make sure that that threads. Yes, it does. Threads well, threads nicely. And it is the NPT, it's tapered. I don't think you can see that, but it tapers down like this, ever so slightly. And so what we were going to use is the Mega Tape, which is actually a thicker gauge tape than the normal, just like red canister tape or blue. So I'm going to start with approximately 15 revolutions and install that and see if that would suffice, and then if that works, great, and if it doesn't, we're going to rebuild it. So when we're doing the tape, the trick to this tape is you want to thread it in the way that the tape would actually tighten as you were to thread this on. So make sure that you're threading it to the direction that it would tighten the tape and not unravel the tape. So there's 2 revolutions, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5, there's 6, there's 7, there's 8, oh boy, I don't know, there's 9, there's 10. I'll tell you what, I'm stopping at 10. That's a lot of tape. So you can see you can hardly see the threads. Now be very careful that you don't cross thread here to start. Okay, we're good right there. And then we'll get our other one. Again, when you put your tape on, put it on in a direction that it will not unravel. So if you're using PEX A, that's the expansion type of PEX. PEX B is the crimp type of PEX. And then you got your PVC, which is just your glue, and your copper, which is your weld. I will say this was very well packaged. The quality looks great. We did get the upgraded version with the gauges, and what the gauges are going to do is explain, or not explain, but will show you when these filters begin to get clogged and it's time for them to be replaced. The pressure will drop because there's not going to be enough flow through that that filter, and these are individual gauges. So it's not just a one gauge for the whole system. It's actually going to give you 3 different readings for 3 different filters, which is really nice. Hey everybody, this is our install of the Express Water 3 filter whole house filtration system. I'll walk you through how we did ours and what was needed, and hopefully this can help you. So it took, I would say, a total of an hour or so of work, but a lot of back and forth trying to get all this stuff to fit and get the right fitting. So we have a 1.25" PVC line coming into our house, main supply water. So we went down to a 1 inch, and then we converted to PEX. So I like to use PEX A. That's what's in our house, so that's what we went with. This is our main water shut-off valve. So if we have this valve shut, there's no water supplied to the house any from that point after. The instructions was they suggest putting the valve here or here. I did not have the space. I couldn't do it. I'm sorry, I didn't have the valve. I couldn't do it. And so I have done everything the way to where we can get the water back on, but I'll add a valve right here so that you can close this valve and then the cold water can bypass the filtration system and then continue to supply the house if this was to fail or something. Not a big deal, but eventually I'll put one in right here, maybe. Which really leaves this valve totally useless if there's not one here. But anyway, this stays closed, so the water comes down and it comes through the filter on the inlet side. You use a threaded NPT or MNPT, male NPT threaded adapter there on the inlet, and then on the outlet. Make sure it's NPT, it has to be tapered. So we come out of our line here and we come up and we feed our cold water to our house, and then we also feed our water heater, which would be this line right here. It goes through the water heater, comes out of our red line right here, and then feeds the house with hot water. At the end of the system, I put a pressure gauge just to make sure that we're not getting any type of blockage within any of this system. So I can read pressure in and I can read pressure completely out, making sure that we're safe and doing good. But that's it. That's the full install. It was pretty easy, cost about $100 in parts. Took about an hour, maybe hour and a half total time. Spread over about 2.5 hours because I was having to go back and forth to get some parts out of the shop. But probably about an hour of total work time. But it turned out pretty good. Looking forward to turning the water on here in just a second and seeing how good the water tastes out of the faucet because I'm thirsty. So thanks for watching.